So you're thinking of starting an Etsy print-on-demand store, huh? Before you start, there are some absolute must-knows that could make or break how successful you actually become with Etsy print-on-demand. Today, we're diving into the 5 things that you absolutely should know about before jumping in to this new venture. Even if you've already started on your journey with print-on-demand, that's absolutely fine. Hopefully the information in this video will still help you along. Just a quick intro of myself. I'm Daniel and I've been running 6-figure Etsy print-on-demand stores for several years now. I also have a master's degree in international business and I've spent my entire career teaching at some of the biggest consulting and tech companies around the world. My mission now is to show you how you can use tried and tested business strategies to become more successful with Etsy and print-on-demand. I'm not gonna lie, I've made lots of mistakes along the way while setting up my Etsy print-on-demand businesses. And today I would like to share some of those top tips with you so that hopefully you don't make those same mistakes in the future. So let's get into it, shall we? Learning number 1 is that Etsy is not a get-rich-fast scheme. Look, I get it. We all love the idea of making a couple of bucks here and there quickly. But Etsy isn't a slot machine. You shouldn't expect to upload 1 or 2 listings and then become an instant millionaire overnight. It just doesn't happen. If that's what you're after, I think you can stop watching this video right here. Why? Because I don't want you to be here for a quick buck. I want to help you to lay the groundwork for a lasting and sustainable business, something which you can actually really be proud of in the long run. Now, don't get me wrong. Can you make a lot of money with Etsy? Absolutely. But will it happen overnight? Probably not. Instead, think long term. Invest in yourself and in the business that you're trying to grow. And before you know it, you'll have something which you're not only proud of, but is also sustainably earning you an income. Learning number 2 is that you need to invest time up front. I won't sugarcoat it. The time that you actually need to invest into getting this off the ground can feel quite daunting. At the end of the day, you're a one-person show. That means that you wear a lot of different hats. You're the designer, the marketer, the accountant, the business person. You're doing it all. I wanted to build a Etsy side hustle which would earn me passive income, one which I wouldn't have to put too much time and effort into. But the reality is that it does take some upfront time commitment to actually help start getting that off the ground. But consider this, every hour that you invest is a building block to your successful business. It's actually really empowering. In the beginning, sure, you're grinding, you're wearing all of those different hats. But after time, what you'll find is that you can actually start automating a lot of these processes. And before you know it, you'll actually be steering the ship rather than rowing it. Over time, I have come up with a bunch of different strategies which I now use to shave hours of work on my Etsy store on a weekly basis so that I get that time back to do other things in life. I would love to share these tools with you, so if you're interested in learning more about them, feel free to comment down below. Learning number 3 is all around market saturation. Oh, I can't sell on Etsy, it's way too saturated. Sound familiar? Yeah, a lot of people think that, and for good reason. Especially over the COVID years, a lot of people were looking for alternative forms of income, and many people turned to Etsy for that. So yes, competition has definitely increased on Etsy over the past years especially. But here's a secret. Even the most saturated markets can have gaps. The trick is trying to find those gaps and filling them. Let's take a look at an example of a brand that I actually really admire. They're called Dollar Shave Club. If you don't know this company, they're a shaving brand and took on the behemoth task of breaking into the razor blade market a few years ago. And they did that successfully. But how did they do that? Well, lots of reasons. But what they did really well is finding their product market fit. So, focusing on a specific segment of the market and really narrowing in on that. I suggest taking the same approach with your Etsy store. But how can you do that? Well, one of the first things you should really focus on is research. That's definitely your best friend here. And there are some really great tools out there, such as Everbee or eRank, and there's a couple of others as well, that can really make your life a lot easier when it comes to conducting your research specifically on the Etsy platform. Once you actually find that sweet spot that you want to focus on, own it. Dive into that specific area. Try to develop products and designs that not only fill that gap, but actually make it unimaginable for anyone else to even try to compete with you. And then suddenly, you're not in a saturated market anymore, you're in your own market because you'll own it. Even if it's a tiny little niche within a wider saturated niche, there could still be a lot of potential there, so it's definitely worth exploring. Learning number 4 is that there are trademark rules. One thing you need to keep in mind at all times is that Etsy has rules. In fact, there are certain designs that you simply cannot sell because of trademark infringements, and it's really important that you steer clear from them. Trademark infringements are when you use a name, logo, or design that already belongs to someone else without their permission. Companies and individuals register these special names or designs as trademarks to protect themselves. And if you actually go out and try to use or sell a specific design which may be protected by a trademark, you could get in trouble for that, and it's something that you want to avoid. But Daniel, I see trademark products with Disney logos and all sorts of other trademarks on them on Etsy all the time. Yep. Don't be fooled by these other sellers that are selling obviously trademarked shirts on Etsy. I can promise you, unless they somehow weirdly were able to get a licensing deal from one of these big companies, they're breaking the rules. And it's quite frankly only a matter of time before they get caught. And it's really important that you stay on top of this at all times throughout your Etsy journey, not just in the beginning. And before you know it, you could wake up one morning to find that maybe a listing has been removed from your store, or even worse, that your entire store has been suspended or completely deleted. I just don't think it's worth losing your store over. Now, the good news is that there's a really easy way for you to keep on top of this. So whenever I'm doing my all-important trademark research, I always like to use the official government websites to do so. So if you're based in the US, I would suggest you use the United States Patent and Trademark Office website. I'll provide a link to this in the description below as well. And essentially, all you really need to do is once you're on this site, you can use this search bar up here to search for a specific keyword that you're looking to research. As you can see here, I've already tried to do this with Coca-Cola. That is the example we'll use in this case as well. We'll pick that, click on search, and this is now going to show us all of the trademarks that have ever existed, whether they are live, they're dead, they're pending, or they're actually fully registered. You can see here there's over 5,000 results. And if you click over here on this little button, this usually makes it a little bit easier to digest all of these trademark information. And in here you can now see all of the different trademarks that have ever been created or applied for the word Coca-Cola. So I'm not going to go into it in too much detail in this video. If you'd like to learn more about trademarks and how to do the best possible research around these, then drop a comment in the comment box below, and I'll be sure to do a video on that in the future. And learning number 5 is the amazing Etsy community. I've actually spoken with a lot of different buyers and found out that they actually come to Etsy specifically to shop and to support small businesses and individuals just like us. So I think this is really unique to Etsy in comparison to other e-commerce platforms such as Amazon or eBay. What I've found is that these aren't just transactions, they're actually relationships that you're building. One example which has really stuck with me for a long time now is actually from my first ever customer that I had on my first store. She purchased a sweater from me with a specific design on it, and then as she received it, she actually messaged me with a photo of her wearing it, along with an absolutely lovely message thanking me for it as well. She eventually actually also went on to purchase another 5 sweatshirts from me over the course of the past 2 years or so. It's these experiences that make me such a big fan of the Etsy platform and also keep me motivated day in and day out. So I would suggest to build a relationship with your buyers. And before you know it, they won't just be your customer, but they'll also be a member of your store's fan club as well. So there you have it, folks. There are the top 5 things that I would suggest you keep in mind as you're growing your Etsy print-on-demand store. It's definitely not a walk in the park, but it absolutely is worth it at the end of the day. If you're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into this exciting journey, then smash that subscribe button and let's do this together.